Kirsten Van Dyke. I am the CEO and Creative Director at newagefloral.com. We are a revolutionary new trailblazing company specializing in sundry provisions for sustainable florists. Sustainability is a hot topic. It is the new reality more than a trend. We'll be talking about just those things as we get ready to present wonderful, swoon-worthy designs, botany-based work, respecting nature, working with nature and for nature. We need to protect the source, people, so get ready for a fun-loving, design-filled, and warm-hearted program. Thanks. So usually, one of the best parts of getting ready for design work is gathering the materials that you're going to be using to create a mood or a sort of sentiment. I am creating this design as an ode to the masculine side of me, the rough and tumble, gritty, get down and dirty florist, gardener, and the person that's just out there willing to get their hands in the middle of everything. So I'm going to select some flowers, and I know that I will be using this bucket, and I think we might need a few pieces from here. So I'm going to bring this back. And we're going to get started on our designs. Now, this is a cacophony of color. I love color in spring. It's sort of brought on by the Easter egg season and the egg hunt and the old traditions that people had and still have about decorating sort of symbols of the season to come. And the season to come for us is, of course, spring. Wonderful, wonderful event, Boston Design Week. Spring Forward is a fabulous, fabulous theme to get a good start on not just what we're thinking about for the weekend to come or next month, but for the future in general. So let me talk a little bit quickly about New Age Floral. We are an e-commerce business, and we are specializing in 100% sustainable products for sustainable floristry. We are trying to enable, especially the American population, materials and sundries that they can use to create without guilt and be able to create a work with flowers and then simply be able to place it, and it will biodegrade or decompose in a compost. 100% natural. That's our key. 100% natural. So let's start with the first design. Again, I'm going to do a masculine kind of rough and tumble piece. This is an old gourd shell left from my Halloween fall decorations 2 years ago, and it has been hollowed out by the squirrels. And what you don't see is that I've tucked in a previously used piece of agar wool. I've turned it upside down for a nice fresh face facing me, and I've placed it inside. I'm reusing a brick of agar wool. And why can I do that? Because it has the capacity to be reused. It doesn't really get moldy, mildew, and this brick has more than one purpose. So we're going to start with what you find in the garden when you go out to start the gardening season in your landscape. It could be that vessel. So I love the personality of this. First thing I'm going to do is add another piece of agar wool. Here you can see I have a previously used piece of agar wool. I'm poking in my skewers, my companion tools, and I'm going to tuck this one with the new clean face, and I'm going to put it right next to the other piece that was previously used. So I'm using it for the second time. This is simple tension. A lot of water is going to be received when I slowly and directly add water to this foam. I can do that because of the agar wool. The way it's formulated, it immediately absorbs, and rather quickly and totally without leaking. all the water source. It's not a slow process where you have to insert like the plastic-based floral foam bricks into a source and it slowly goes down, and really not quite guaranteed it will be hydrated. I'm just going to take simple water and I am slowly getting the top wet. And now where I've done that, I'm going to slowly add water. I do want to see, hopefully, at the end of the pour, some water coming down underneath. That tells me it's fully saturated and that we have some leftover water. Reminding you, this is an outdoor party I'm holding today. All designs are meant for outside plein air designing. So we're still hydrating. And I can keep going. I don't like to waste water, so it's going to take more than this. It absorbs a lot of water. I need more, just for those 2 offcuts from previous design work that I'm recycling and reusing. So, now we have some outspill. This is good. This is what I'm wanting to see. I'll do a little more here. And fully hydrated. We have some things coming down through the table. I'm pleased. Now I can go ahead with my design. Set this aside, and I'm going to start with this piece. Really heavy now, fully saturated, holding on. I'm going to start this piece with last year's garden. Why am I doing that? Because I think you'll find that when we reference time in our design work, and we think about sustainability and how we can use and reuse previous season's garden florals for our party flowers or for indoor parties, the grasses come to mind for me. I have a lot of grasses and I plant them just for that purpose. I have 4 seasons of youth with my grasses. So we're going to start. I just cut these from the garden. These are and nothing more than northern sea oats that have wintered over, and there's barely any left. The birds have been feasting all winter long, and I want to see how I can just come in. I'm going to do a test hold and see how it's working. So and it is receiving the grass fine. However, I want to get used to using a companion tool when I'm designing with AgriWool. So I'm going to start pre-poking every time I want to do an insertion, and I believe it's going to make the process a lot faster. What does that do? First of all, it teaches you how to be ambidextrous. You need that as a florist. Secondly, the pre-drill ensures that you will have a nice unbroken stem that goes and becomes part of the design. We don't need a lot of material. I chose the grasses not just as a reference to sustainability in general, but I chose them because I wanted to add an element of air. Air, a breeze to my work. So that is why I'm using this wonderful material. Very little material is necessary to get the moodiness that this is going to do for me. So I am quickly now that I've got my rhythm going, little poke in here, and yes, I can use both hands equally. Again, that's the floral designer superpower, being able to work with both hands. So now we have last year's grasses that you haven't come in yet to clean up before next year's grasses come in. And so this is nice. A little bit of product goes a long way. Lots of negative space for the eye to travel, so your guests will be able to see what's going on. But now I want to reference this year's growth. It's all about seasonality with sustainability. With seasonality and materials, what's being proposed is that we are using materials that are available to us where we are. Use what you can, where you are. You will find you will have a lot more resources at your disposable interest. You can just go in, find these in the garden, find them at the side of the road, at a friend's house, and forsythia like this really sit side by side, referencing last year, this year. We have some nice new foliage coming out. So a touch of green. This is early spring. This design is early spring. We're still feeling rugged. We're still feeling a little rough under the collar. Look at this growth. These branches. This is the sustainable florist's absolute dream. When you find material, whether it's what you're growing in your garden or what you're able to get at the local nursery or from the floral market or from another source, even the supermarket, look for the quirkiness, the effects of the elements on your materials. That's where you get big impact for your design. Now, I just put that straight in. It wasn't a problem, and I want there to be a little bit of activity. I'm going to give him a little more space, and now we've got a good airiness going on. We're going to come in with some personality. It's spring. The guys want to get on the golf course. They just want to see exotic. So here I have some Leucospermum. It's a pincushion protea. Oh, there goes my twine. And I'm just going to place these inside, and I want them at another level in the design. I want the eye to be traveling in different places. First attracted by this all natural vessel, hollowed out by the squirrels over the wintertime. And now we bring in these fabulous botanical beauties, pin cushion protea, which are just starting to open up. The ends of these wonderful pieces are a deep pink, enabling me to come in and bring in just a touch of red, that really strong masculine color in my opinion, where I can come right now and I'm just going to side by side with this branch utilize this space. So I'm creating a little bit of a stepped effect. Very airy, very open, and we'll come in with just a nice in-between color, a color in between this and this and this and this is this. So we're transitioning our rather narrow color story with the material, the botany itself. We are not spray painting the material. We are not dyeing the floral material. We are finding materials in nature that really can get the message of a little bit of a boat on the Charles River heading out after spring. So I'm going to come in. Now, I don't really need to cover up the beauty of the agrawall. I can, however, and if I were to do that, I think I would want to come in and use natural pieces. So I'm going to show you something that's going to add a little bit of whimsy to our design. This is another product I carry, we carry here at New Age Floral, bamboo leaf cones. These are fabulous. They can come down into a work like this and really add a touch of whimsy. It has a void where the eye can be going inside and out. And I'm just going inside the existing holes, and then I can, with a nice bold purple piece of status here. This is wonderful because it dries basically how it is fresh, about as sustainable as you're going to get. You can design with confidence and without water in these cones by just tucking a little pop of color down at the bottom, and you have little surprises that the fishermen brought back when they were fishing along the Charles River. One last, and what a spectacle. Agrawall, great stuff. I'm going to bring this and place it now on a nice piece of furniture next to the gentleman's King's rocker. And I want it to be a presentation really that is like out of this sort of normal preconceived notion of what we can do with florals with very few of them, we are using negative space. We are referencing time, and we're grabbing these colors and we're using nature in its setting. And I think the last thing we would need for this is a little snippet of forsythia on the table. So now we have our masterpiece. We'll be going on to our next design shortly. Know that this entire design, the entire design, can be picked up and placed in the compost after you let the birds use it. One quick advice: save the agar-wool. Break it into small pieces. Put it inside both the compost and in your potting mix as an additive that's going to store extra water. I've done that in my annual planting in my lovely French urn, and I'm thrilled. It's working great. And it's going to help it grow quickly and take strong root going into the growing season. You may find you'll need to transplant that, and you'll have more than enough for all of your planters in the garden. So we're going to do our next design in just a minute. So what is agar-wool? What is this brown stuff I'm using in these designs anyway? Agar-wool is a 100% natural basalt wool and plant-based binding agent included brick mechanics system. It's the same basic size as the already existing plastic-based floral foams, which are green. You've seen them since 1950s, when they really revolutionized floristry and made it a magic, almost too good to be true, easy process. And as advertised, it is too good to be true, unfortunately. These break down into microplastics. They never break down, and they're not biodegradable, the green flower foams. And there are other products that are suggesting they're biodegradable, but they aren't quite. They don't quite meet the standard. They are then saying they are biodegradable enhanced. So this is just going back to where it came from, the earth, not in a science lab. And here it is saturated with water in this wonderful bamboo leaf bowl fastened with 100% beeswaxed hemp twine. We've made a mini cage to stabilize the product. This is approximately 1/2 of a brick in this bamboo leaf bowl, and this can act as the main base for centerpieces or even for works that are up high. You can place these above, attach them to structures on the wall, and you can do your florals that way. There will be some water obviously escaping on horizontal applications that are sideways like that. Gravity does it to everything. It gives you wrinkles too, so just get over that. You'll know it, keep giving it water, and you'll find this is a great alternative to the plastic caged, plastic-based foams in your floristry practices. Again, this could also be a wonderful seeding mechanism. Plant a lawn in this and stick it in the kitchen window and watch the grass grow. Let the kids mow the lawn in the window. These are the sustainable tools we now have available to us in the United States. It is a Dutch product, produced and distributed from Holland. Wonderful family, very eco-conscious, and just it's a great product. It's about time. Here we have it. We can use it with flower arranging. We can use it for potting up your planters and use it as an amendment to the soil. You can use it to seed up seedlings, and you can use it for your cuttings as well. Break everything down. When you're done with your design, throw it into the compost, and it will amend your clay-based soil if that's what you have. It's a soil amendment. It's all good. So we're going to use this little guy. Lots of fun, very easy to handle, and I'm just going to quickly show you again something quite fresh, staying on the color tones from our earlier design. I'm just working with readily available flowers that are very long lasting. Again, something that's part of the sustainability concept. You want what you do to last a while. Using my companion tools, I'm going to just go around the outside edge, and I'm going to place some of the alstroemeria in a very simple but organic looking way. I want it to look like they are dancing, not necessarily da 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 with rhythm. We want it to be natural looking. We want the design to emulate nature and not try to control it. Try not to tame nature. You won't get very far with that one, I promise you. So I'm just going around, and all of this product that I've put into this, I'm sorry, I don't see that. All of this is coming from a single stem of Alstro, and we already have that airy quality that really adds to both profitability in your design, less product, more retail. It also invites the eye to actually appreciate the individual blossoms. The eye is able to read it not as a big mass, and the eye enjoys being able to see the individual little petals and structure of the plant, which with mass bankings of flowers in the landscape, sometimes we lose the individuality of the single bloom. So there, here, there, lost my hole. I'm going to give it one more. Sometimes it happens. When that happens, I like to recut my stem so it can absorb better. And in we go. There we go. So this guy's been out. And we're doing great with this design. Very soon I'm going to be able to pick up the pace a bit once I get around this corner. And you'll notice I'm going in at many different angles because I want it to appear natural. It's growing this way in nature. Botany-driven work that is working with nature, is all about celebrating nature's creatures and flowers. There are many types of floral designs, some more strict and rigid, some other types even more minimalist than what I'm doing here. I've created a nice look, this collar, we'll call it, and now I want to bring in some dancing beauties, the ranunculus. The ranunculus are fabulous. Sometimes you'll get a stem in a ranunculus that just takes your breath away. It's got such personality. Well, this is one such flower. So when I see something like this, as you know, I want to celebrate that. So I am going to immediately, I'm leaving this foliage on. I like the dance, and I'm just going to put this right here in the middle, because this is one of two flowers that are going to be having a conversation. And you'll see what I mean in a second. It's another one. I do a lot of talking when I do my programs. People know that about me. I can't stop talking because I want to share everything that's going through my mind when I'm designing. So here I have the two leading characters in this springy, youthful presentation of flowers. We'll come back now and bring in some peony tulips. You'll notice I'm using a lot of the orange, and I do that because this agri-wool that I'm playing with is a Dutch product. Orange is a great color for flowers in general, I believe that orange is the new red. I do. Now, right now, I'm noticing I have a little bit of tension and pushback as I'm inserting into this new natural product. So I'm going to use a bigger chopstick, which is graduated, recut my stem, and now place it inside. And indeed, goes right in without a problem, nice and straight, and now I can come in with quite a few more. So it's a party here, and we are celebrating sustainability and wondering and asking ourselves, what can we do as individuals to help with a sustainable philosophy when we are dealing with florals in both the landscape and in floral design work. One part and one important philosophy that I think it's important you adopt is that we want to try to leave only footprints when we are creating. It wouldn't be the best if we were creating and bringing in a ton of a ton of plastics and that sort of thing in the shape of perhaps a vessel that you thought might work. Try to see what you've got in your arsenal of vessels. It will end up being so much more personal. It will have more meaning in the dining room or outside at the garden party table. I just brought in 2 more ranunculus. Well, I'll tell you why, because I think the party needed to be bigger. The fact is, I can fit quite a lot of stems inside this small arrangement, but I want to maintain a garden, spring garden feel. So I'm going to try, again, to keep our negative space here, so it's both focusing on the individual flowers, we have the breeze and the air, and we're able to see it as a tranquil setting in the garden, always referring to nature. One more tulip. This peony tulip hasn't even started to open. I can't wait to watch it happen in this design. And the great part about AgriWool is that I will be able to watch this tulip, the heavy drinker that it is, open over time in my design. So I've cut at a better angle here, and now just coming in, adding another line inside. Different heights. We have our color, and now how are we going to treat this area? Moss. I have a ton of it in the garden. So I'm just going to go behind me and pick some up and clean it off. And now I have just that garden mood so that I can cover, if I want to, the AgriWool with natural ingredients. The great part is that when I pull up and use my moss, it grows back. It's regenerative in my garden. I don't use pesticides in the garden. I let the birds help me out when we have grubs and so forth. And I'm patient. I've recently planted up some zoysia grass that really likes a nice dry lawn condition. It's used in golf courses. Oh, I'm loving this very much. Oh my goodness. This came out quite nice. It was rather easy, tucking it into the bamboo. And this was really an easy centerpiece for your garden party, celebrating spring. Looks like these little guys are peeping through the lawn. I feel like a little kid again. Almost reminds me of dandelions. We'll talk about dandelions at another program. So this one's great. We'll add that to our arsenal. I think I'll put it right next to the last design. and they can play together very nicely. A nice color story. And now for our next design. All right, it's time to get pretty in pink. Pink, think spring. Love pink in the garden, in the house, in the landscape for spring. We see yellow. I love the yellow too. It's really nice and out there. But with pink, you have this loving relationship with candy and ice cream and everything yummy and goody for you. So we're using, again, good for you and good for the planet agri-wool. You know, I did a lot of huge traditional mass designs in Newport over the years at the Newport Flower Show, and indeed I did need a brick mechanic system to accomplish what it was I was doing within the 2-hour time frame. This helps if you're in a pinch with time. If you can do it without an agri-wool and have pure water source, all the better without the time limitations. But for competition and so forth, sometimes this mechanic system is what you need to be able to be successful and create what you need in the time frame. So spring is fleeting. This design is a celebration of the feminine, the ultra feminine, of Mother Earth, and we're going to do it with the soft colors of spring, the pinks. So let me get those. Of course, what would it be without some lovely chrysanthemum? I love chrysanthemum. Again, just like Alstroemeria. This hard-working and long-lasting flower should be part of everyone's arsenal, whether in the garden or at the garden party. This is a flower that is going to really show itself in the most beautiful way, and it's scented. You know, I was in Brussels, Belgium, working on an installation at a castle at a big festival. And I have to say, after a long day or 2 days work, there was nothing like having some chrysanthemum beer. And I did. I relaxed with chrysanthemum beer, feeling I was just doing the greatest work and really learning a lot about sustainability. And it was there and in Belgium where, you know, it really took hold in my mind after seeing everything that was going into these productions for these big floral fits, that we needed to start thinking about the source more and really protecting, really thinking about that. So in this design, I'm relying on my classic techniques, my classic forms, but I just want to show you how the brick works. Now I've rehydrated 2 bricks, or blocks if you want to. I've stacked them one on the other, and now I'm just going to come back and I want to secure the 2, and I want to do that using my bamboo skewers. Now I take a little bit off and leave a little bit on. Why? Because I may need to use this for support later. I'm always thinking ahead when designing. How can I use my additions, the minimal amount of product that has been touched by the hands of man, such as bamboo in a skewer form. I have bamboo growing in my garden, and you'll see a bouquet coming up pretty soon using bamboo from the garden, but right now we'll use these bamboo skewers. This is enough to keep me happy. I'm going to get some more flowers around the front, and these flowers are really important. They are my crabapple branches. These are large crabapple branches, and from the garden I'm gathering some wonderful, look at this, amazing passion it's called. This is pink passion, and it's wonderful, right from my garden. So I want a nice lush feeling. We are celebrating Mother Earth here, and we want to start establishing our design with line. I always like to give a bottom cut to my branch material, because the cross cut through, beautiful, enables more rapid absorption of water. Little techniques that each floral designer or arranger has is part of their sort of arsenal. Look at this. This is a funny story. I needed to get my car inspected, and while waiting for the car to be inspected, I saw in the parking lot of the service station really old crabapple tree, really in bad shape. And well, if you haven't seen my truck, the license plate says flowers in French. So it's not unexpected to find me on the side of the road in any town with my clippers and my bucket, walking up and getting what I can for free. Mother Nature always provides, and in this case, boy did she provide. She's providing with the line material that I need. And forgot to pre-drill. Always pre-drilling. Why make it hard? Just use the technique. You know it's to work. And now push it in. The lateral pushes with Agri-Wool can be a little more challenging. So I like to use tension whenever possible. You'll note I just moved this stem from this side to the other side. It gave me the tension I needed. If I need to secure this stem to the vessel with beeswax hemp twine, all natural biodegradable, I will do that at the end. I don't want to start from the beginning with a huge amount of mechanics and techniques. I want to have the freedom to create sustainably, enjoying the mindful placements of these branches and the flowers, knowing that I need to work with the personality of this 100% natural mechanic, and it is a process just kind of like ikebana. So I've gone in and I've established wonderful line. This is fabulous. It's back down. I want to get this off so that you can really enjoy and appreciate that we have this abundance. It's celebrating abundance. So now we go back, and I will come in very quickly, and working in the front, I do want to start adding my flowers. Kirsten, why aren't you greening up the design first? In other words, why don't I add the greens of my design first? The thing with my aesthetic, being botany driven and wanting to really highlight the different flowers I'm using, right here, I want to leave transparency. Now this is a big concept, not just in flowers, but you know, all over in politics and lifestyle living, everything, being transparent about who you are, what you stand for, so that we all know what it is we can expect and hopefully gain from your knowledge and your experience. And this is something that transparency touches a chord with. I think the more we know about the products we're working with in design, whether it be a heating system like geothermal heating, or whether it be the car we drive, a little bit of transparency, knowing exactly what is it that you're working with, how impactful is it on our environment. All of these get factored in to how we express ourselves in this automobile that we choose, and the clothing that we buy. A little surprise might be that I have been shopping at Salvation Army since I was 16. I love the thrill of the hunt. So for me, if there was a store where I could find something very unique at a great price, I knew that was for me. think of sustainability when you approach floral design and the philosophy behind every selection you make going into your work. How will the intended recipient, primarily, that's your first thought, how are they going to receive it? How will it perform after it's left your hands? That's a big thing. How is it going to perform after it leaves your hands? Whether it's the finished room that is now at the model home and it's staged to perfection, and you know you'll be selling out on the condos because it's staged well with wonderfully thoughtfully placed elements. All of these things are part of sustainability. It's a mindful process. So often it can happen that you're in the middle of some big event, not a party or anything, but an event in your life, and you realize, wow, I just did X, Y, and Z, and I now have to clean up after myself and recycle and be responsible for everything I've done. The footprints that I'm leaving really are just too big. So how do we reduce footprints? Reuse, reduce, recycle. We know these are the most important tenets. So anyone that knows me will see that I've used this vessel many times. And I do that because it ain't broke. It works for me, and I love how it receives the flowers and shows off the artistry of the design. The design, soft romance. Can you imagine a table setting with incredible botanical patterned wedgwood and some William Yoward crystal and all of those things that make every day special? Can you imagine that as part of this celebration? I certainly can. Now I'm taking apart the branch from the garden and I am breaking it into 3 units. Sure, I could put the one branch in there, but part of my methodology is to have transparency, to try to save on materials. And I do that by spreading out the wealth, as it were. Most people would expect this to be hugging and falling down in front. That is not happening today. Something else will be doing that. I am using this material to excite the eye so that when the beholder takes a look at this design, he or she wants to know, how is that held together? And when they do that, they'll find this little ditty is hiding the secret. The agrawwool looks like soil. It's a natural medium for the garden style designs that are so popular today. And the resurgence of neo-traditional works with designers like Kiana Underwood and works by Laura Dowling and others in the United States has really helped designers like me embrace older methods and more traditional forms of floristry that don't include wires. You'll notice I don't wire anything. I'm relying on my knowledge of the plants, my knowledge of the mechanic, and trust that it's going to be fine. And you'll see right now, I'm just going to turn so that I can get the other side. We are starting to get really a nice feel to this. But at this moment, I want to start introducing some other elements. Now, if you recall, we put in 2 bamboo skewers. Now, these skewers make wonderful multi-purpose mechanics. By leaving them exposed while you're working, you may find you want to tuck in some references to the landscape beyond the party. So I've made space here, and I'm connecting with those two skewers. And I'm going to come in with my waxed hemp twine at this point, cut a little piece, and another little one. Well, maybe that's good. And I am going to secure it at this time. Very easy to do, just a quick knot. And now I know that this will support other weight without shifting. Minimal mechanics. Waxed hemp twine has fabulous grip. It's waxed. When you draw it tight, the wax melds with itself. So it's really a solid, nice grip, and it just really feels good in the hand. Unlike the other mechanics that you might find that do the same thing, this paper-covered wire that we find in other sundry stores. So I guess what I'm suggesting here is, with the paper-covered wire, is that try the waxed hemp twine and see what you think about that, because it is a really good 100% sustainable alternative to the bind wire. And I think we want to avoid, next on our list are the metals. First, the plastics. The production of metals is really can be egregious. I mean, it can be harmful in the planet with all the necessary processes. So here we have a nice element that's really speaking to spring and renewal, found on the side of the road. So about as sustainable as it gets. And I am now going to come in, and I'm going to bring in some flower elements that I think are really critical. These are the components in a design that stretches the longevity of the piece. You're going to see these lilies over time opening up, and you will need to add perhaps some water, not that much. Agarwool is constantly holding its water. It's one of its best attributes, is how it can handle the water. But with this, I think you'll see that adding these readily available and long-lasting, again, I can't say enough, long-lasting flowers, part of sustainability. When you start adding those in, you can stretch the design so it lasts so much longer. And I'm going to place it right there with my left hand, always working out, and we'll get it at a nice angle. Now, this is really starting, I say, because I could keep doing this for an hour. I could work on this design for an hour, and I have so much agarwool that's at my disposal here. You can't see it because it's brown, and this garden style design, it looks like this is just growing up out of nature. Now, I do want to keep going, but I'm going to be very selective now in what I'm going to add. So I'm going back, and we have these little branches with these blossoms, the fallen ones, and I just going to tuck it in so we have a little bit of that rugged woodland right down inside, and we create this nice rhythm. This could keep going. I mean, I see this piece. Do I want to add? I would love to. So I am going to add a couple pieces. This is the maximalista in me. And I like to blame it on nature, because nature is bountiful. Nature always provides. And right now, I am just thrilled with how this is starting to look. This is a nice big stretch on your buffet table at the next dinner party you have. And now I'm going to fill in on this side. And this design will be rather complete in very little time with very, very little effort. The agra wool is so easy to insert. Where did my bamboo skewers go? I gotta keep one at the ready at all times. I love them. They're just perfect, and I love practicing using my left hand. Using two hands at once. Honestly, does it expand your repertoire? It really does. Now, with this single branch here, I'm loving that. I think it's given me what I need to create this dynamic landscape feel. And right now, the sun is breaking through the glade beyond, and it's really focusing on this. And I've decided I'm gonna put all of this Pieris passion inside because, as we know, nature provides. And we'll put it in right here. Oh, yes. Right inside. And there we have it. So this design could easily have had twice as many botanicals in it. But again, here, it's spring. I want to celebrate that magic feeling of regeneration. And I want to reference regeneration and not just the materials I'm using, but the mechanics, both hidden and exposed. We need to keep in mind the source. Everything we do really does need to be thought about and intentionally taking nature and the environment in first hand, right in front of every knowledgeable piece you're putting together. I'm going to now go back in, cut back what I don't want visible, and this design is complete. Well, the black flies are out, so if you see me swiping, it's just nature saying, keep it going, Kirsten, you're taking too long with the designs. So this is a sort of a reveal. We're giving the first reveal of a new product that New Age Floral has created, and got the system, this new format, this new entire type of product has been tucked inside this vessel. Little cement, putting it in. It's malleable, very nice. And I am also going to be befriending my skewer for this. This is a tension-based mechanic that, like working with just flowers and water, and doing bouquet work or other type arrangements that don't require a stabilizing mechanic. A tension-based mechanic is working with nature and its properties. So I really am fascinated about this product. Love it. I've experimented with it for months. I'm in love with it. And I can't wait to be able to get this out on the market. We're just a little short of patent. We're patent pending. So that's great news. And yeah, the name is, shall I tell the name? Da 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 da, Ocean. Ah, yes, O-S-H-U-N. Ocean. Love the look of it. I just liked writing the word and the sound of it, and it references water, and that's exactly what this is all about. This is a hydrated system, already pre-hydrated. I'm just gonna add a little bit of water, not that I need to, but yeah, I always have this thing about adding water. So right now, I'm gonna see what I can do very quickly in testing this product in front of you. I have not tested this particular size pouch with the system that we're using for measuring different sizes. So this is make or break here, folks. And I'm just gonna go at it. I'm just gonna have a lot of fun. And I'm going to be using some big stuff from my garden again. I want to use these fabulous PJM roadies. I had to cut down a large bush of these things in my garden because I had, love that. Look at this. This is why I love it. It's so good. It's so easy. I mean, I guess it's kind of like how people felt when they first played with the plastic stuff, but I guarantee you this is not plastic. Do I even need to pre-drill for these woody stems? No, I don't need to pre-drill, but it's good to practice the left hand. So I think I want to just, again, with my garden style, botany driven, I'm just going to go to town with this color and really push this mechanic to its limit. I think doing this in this video, and I can only do it once, I guarantee you, this is trusting my own product absolutely to the limit. It's like going to a party and knowing you are rocking that outfit. You feel so confident. You feel super confident. Look at that. Look at the stem insertions. Try to say that 5 times fast. I could, but I'm too busy having fun with ocean. This is ocean, baby. I'm loving it. So this is where we are able to go well beyond the idea of a floral mechanic being a brick mechanic system. And this concept, this new, completely new product system is sort of saying to everybody, what can you bring to the table? We did this during COVID. We were passionate during COVID. We had to find something. We hadn't discovered agri-wool yet. And we knew we needed a sustainable mechanic that could have the same holding properties and stabilizing properties as the egregious plastic-based floral foam. This is not a foam. There are no plastics in it. It is encased in PLA, which is a bioplastic. It's in the form of a plastic, but it's 100% plant-based. So if I am to pick up this pouch and take it out of the design, the whole design, if you don't put plastics and wires and all those things in there, is organic and will break down. Not organic, I'm sorry. We can't say organic. We can say natural, 100% natural, biodegradable, and compostable. So I'm going to keep going with this design. I'm loving it. I'm going to start adding some really heavy woody stems. These are the Protea, pincushion Protea we were talking about and used earlier. Now I'm just going to quickly come in and try to fill this in very quickly, as if I were a designer that was just about to reveal her interior design project, or she was having a party, and the hold is unbelievable. Quick insertion, quick grab, love it. I'm very pleased with this, and I'm thinking, yeah, let's go to town with these proteas, because boy oh boy is this an easy one to do with this mechanic. I'm going to do a tender stem now. I'm going to turn my design, and I am going to now do a tender stem insertion, and that would be with our ranunculus, another beautiful spring flower. Now, I am not even going to expect it to poke through. I'm going to respect the plant and the nature of it, and I'm going to pre-drill. And I've just pre-drilled, and I've put it in. Voila, she's gorgeous. So I know now I can go back with all my personality flowers, and I can give them really good attention in this design. Again, 100% natural and revolutionary, just like Agrawol. New Age Floral is constantly working on new mechanical system concepts for today's florist. There are so many things we need to keep in mind, not just the environment. Our pocketbooks have a lot of catching up to do as well. So my advice to you is, once you start seeing how much money you can save with your sustainable floristry practices, using Agrawol, for example. There's my left hand insertion. I'm pretty psyched about that. I'm pumped. Left hand. I can't tell you how much I realized I was missing out on when I broke my wrist in 4 places this past November. And I had surgery, and my brilliant surgeon, inserted a titanium plate inside, and oh God, these ranunculus, sorry. And here I am all these months later, and I'm really benefiting from having used my left hand when my right wrist was broken. And I have a much quicker assembly rate in my bouquets because I'm working with both hands at the same time. So I'm not recommending that you break a wrist. What I am recommending is that you consider mechanical systems, whether it's your opposing hand that you don't really favor, or others that are right here, right at the ready, that can assist you in your design work. For me, my left hand is my new superpower, and I have friends in Holland that were really excited when I talked about how to cope with a broken wrist during a pandemic when you love flowers and you need to create every day. It's not easy. Which gets me thinking, what if suddenly it was up to you to find your own materials to do your own floristry practices? There were no sundry homes, there were no flower markets. It was up to you within your own boundaries, your garden, your neighborhood. It was up to you to create sustainably what you have where you are. Could you do it? I tell you the biggest secret: the trees. So if you look at the trees, you're going to see a structure: a trunk, roots, branches, leaves, flowers, and you're going to realize that everything you need in floristry really is almost in a tree. You have bark that you can use in your garden. You can use bark for mulch. You can use, oh, I just love the insertion. Sorry, I can keep talking, but you could do it if you look to nature and you emulate nature. How does nature create shade? How does nature go through all of these changes of the seasons like we have in Boston and do it every year and come up? Well, seasonality. Oh, this is so pretty. Seasonality and using what you have where you are. So, this was a single piece, pouch, we'll call it, of ocean. I have so much space left in this vessel where I could have actually had 2 of these pouches, but it's unnecessary. I can tell you that I can create continually. I have a lot of space here. I can bring this thing up 3 feet. I can do that with the grasses. I can do it with some branches. let's try an insertion so I can show you what I mean. Come in, and I can start building on this here. Consider this the base structure, and now you come in and you start really coming in with some height. And like I say, I can go 3 or 4 feet high. This is an exciting new development in floristry, and I'm hoping that we get our patent soon because I want it on our inventory for New Age Floral. Until we feel comfortable enough that we can produce it and know that we're protected in some way, I think we're just going to keep perfecting it, coming up with different sizes and shapes of the ocean that serves different purposes, say for floral fashion. I think it would be great for floral fashion, nice neckwear and headwear, and again, we have a link system that we're making this with so that we can come down for events and easily create with ocean. Same can be done with agri-wool. So there are new options for everyone. Soon I have my last design for this program. It's going to be a hand-tied bouquet, and I'm going to try to attempt it to stand in my bird bath, and that's coming up next. Okay, it's bouquet time. The bouquet is sort of the epitome of floristry. It's a gift. It's something that is unique and handmade. Every one, when done right, it can be the most beautiful expression of nature at its finest. New Age Floral was born of a need to address sustainable floristry issues. In my past, I've had a lot of experience. I've learned from a lot of masters around the globe, and each new lesson brought with it other lessons that I wasn't expecting to have, not just about techniques in floristry or the latest flowers or what you can do with this trick here or there. I saw really what went behind the entire industry in my travels here and there, and I was overwhelmed. It changed me, and I think New Age Floral is sort of the next step in the evolution of sort of not just my career path in the floral industry, but I think the concept or the idea of a new age of floristry is something that we all need to embrace. We need to understand that now really is the time to come together and start thinking, hey, let's take advantage of the bounty nature provides with in the first place. Let's relearn the old techniques. Let's feel the branch bend in your hand and understand the beauty of a peony and the sort of divinity in a daisy. All of this is part of what we're doing. We are healers in the industry, florists, landscapers providing nature and the beauty of combinations of color, texture, and form. And we want to do that in a sustainable way, in a way that respects nature and honors her. Because in the end, folks, if we don't take care of it, there's nothing left. So it's pretty easy. New Age Floral, the new age of floristry. So I'm just going to quickly put together a bouquet with what's left. I'm going to see how big I can get and before my arm hurts. But I'm going to be quiet and try not to talk and just sort of focus on what I'm doing. That's very hard for me, not talking. But here goes. One more thing I have to talk about is the idea of a structure or some kind of armature for bouquet work. I have bamboo in the garden and I harvest it, and these are just little branches, little side branches off the main pieces of bamboo that I have used by gathering them together, and I'm creating an armature. So this is just nothing more than a rigid sort of guiding structure that's going to help me support the flowers while I continue doing my bouquet work. little pokey, you know. It's a pokey piece. It's stuff poking up in spring. So I'm going to start. I can't help it. You know, I love this. So I'm just going to be putting a crease in, and I'm coming down to about this size, and I'm just going to go around. And it's not necessarily a spiral bouquet. It's a gathered, hand-tied bouquet. So it's pretty basic, really. But done thinking about what the final product is going to look like. And I'm already getting a sense of how the structure is working for me in this bouquet. So I'm getting a good sense. And now I'm going to start layering color, texture, and form that has a relationship to itself. So coming in here, I think I'm going to introduce hydrangea right here. This one. So I'm really starting to do right from the get-go. I am creating different layers in here so that my bouquet ends up being transparent. I could have them really tightly together, but I want them to breathe, and I want, like we talked about, that negative space between your insertions that will give you the ultimate depth that I think adds to distinction in a bouquet. So I will talk a little now. I'm wanting again to sort of build now sideways on this bouquet. I want the feature flowers to now give way to transitional tones leading to the sides. Placing now down low inside the bouquet so that when you look at it, hopefully if it's going to stand freely, you'll be able to look down inside the work, and bringing the eye through a piece, whether it's an interior design or a bouquet, is really the ultimate goal. You want to lead the eye throughout. little bit of green. At this point, I'm going to tie off my bouquet. My hands aren't as big as or strong as they could be, so I'm going to assist myself by using some waxed hemp twine, binding twine, not a wire. I will be able to do a quick tie to help me. And you know, in competitions for bouquet work, you are allowed some time where you can stop and work with a bouquet. I've competed internationally with bouquets. Always a learning experience to see what everyone else is creating with almost the same material. A beautiful thing. I'm going to place it down now. Now I'm just checking the positioning of certain elements. I really did want this to act like that naughty child in the room who just can't stay still in my bouquet. And I like that feeling in a bouquet. And then I'm going to turn and see if I can add any more. I like the look of the bamboo grasses here in the center. You can really get a feeling of spring breaking through and new growth, breaking through the old. And it acts as a little bit of a fortification. Now here, you know, I do love it, but I'm going to trim it just a bit. I would like to see a little bit more air. And the easiest thing to do is to take away the foliage. And that will also help the flowers drink and not have to compete with the foliage in the water source. So now I'm going to attempt a freestand. I don't give myself much luck on this one because I'm not quite finished with my tie. I want to make sure every stem is in water, so this may take 2 cut rounds. And I need bigger. There we go. Come in. And now I'll do my final bind. Yes, I like this quite a lot. This needs to come down into the bouquet. Tied off the bouquet, and now we're going to try to go for that freestand in my bird bath. You know, bird baths are, well, great to have if you can, and they attract just birds, butterflies, and the bees drink from them, and they're really beneficial to have. And I like to do little designs in my bird bath. So if we can take a look at this, and hopefully the movement isn't too much, we're going to see if this stands. Is she going to stand? And I can tell you that she isn't. No, come on, come on. Nope, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna keep. Right here. Of course it is. It's this guy here. Right there. There. And it's late. It's been a long day with the video, but boy, I want this to finish off just swell. So let's see. Please, 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 would you please freestand? Yes. So it happened, and then if we can somehow just see that this idea of the water and the flowers. Let's see if we can spin this while it stays. The idea of a freestanding bouquet in the home. This is really the ultimate goal. In your favorite bowls or platters or low bowls, you can have your bouquets entirely drinking from the water, pure and unrestrained, unfiltered, and these designs last so long. This is really the ultimate goal. The bouquet seen in a standing position. We can have the bouquet leaning, we can have the bouquet suspended, but a simple standing bouquet is really the ultimate in sustainable floristry. I'm so glad you joined me. I hope you get a chance to check out New Age Floral and see what we're up to. We're just introducing our big plates of agarwool. These are big designer plates that can go at weddings and events behind structures like this, or cut to fit the structure. And again, 100% natural agarwool plates are here. Soon we'll be getting in our horticulture agarwool line. That is for the grower and the grower designer. For starting seeds, starting your cuttings and everything. These are plugs for you to be able to plant up and grow and show. So, thanks again for joining us. Keep it real, keep it sustainable, and have a great spring in Boston. Sustainability. New Age Floral is sort of dedicated to trying again when the airplane isn't here. I just swore. Can you cut that?